This is part 3, episode 100. Everyone, hurry up and cultivate. Any increase in strength is a powerful guarantee for us. I've already applied to the academy. Tomorrow, Dean Yang will personally bring Nan Nan and Xiao Xiao to the Star Luo Forest to find a suitable soul beast for their 6th soul rings. Sansha and Kaitu go along too. This will give you peace of mind. While the Yin-Yang Love Querying Valley did cause them many injuries, some of them benefited, too. Of the Tang sect members, 4 of them had experienced an increase in soul power: Hui Yuhao, Wang Donga, Xiao Xiao, and Jiang Nan Nan. Of course, this also included Wang Chioa, who had disappeared. Among them, Xiao Xiao and Jiang Nanan's soul power had reached rank 60. After they returned to the Tang sect, the 2 girls had cultivated to solidify their foundations. They now needed to obtain their 6th soul rings to become soul emperors. After the 2 of them rose in rank, Hui Yuhao was the only one of Shrek's 7 monsters who had yet to rise in rank. However, Hui Yuhao's soul power had increased by 5 ranks. He was very close to rank 60. Everyone nodded. The increase from 5 rings to 6 was not as difficult as the increase from 6 rings to 7, but it was still a huge milestone for Soul Masters. The increase from Soul King to Soul Emperor was an exponential increase in power, which would further strengthen the Tang sect. Alright, let's do this. Everyone, hurry up and cultivate. I'll inform you about the rescue operation as soon as I can. Dismissed. Everyone started to leave. However, Nan Qiuqiu sat there for a long while before standing up. Yi Gai, who had been sitting next to her, asked in a low voice, "Qiuqiu, are you all right?" Nan Qiuqiu shook her head and said, "I'm fine." "Sister Gai, do you really think we can save my mother?" Yi Gai sighed and said, "On the continent, if there's something Shrek Academy can't do, then no one else can do it. Please don't do anything dumb. All we can do is wait. Since Bei Bei has spoken, the school will naturally make its own arrangements. All we can do now is cultivate with all our might. The important thing is to strengthen ourselves. You should endeavor to become a soul emperor as soon as you can. All of our martial souls are special. The stronger we are, the more powerful our unique traits will become. Let's work hard together." "Okay." Nan Qiuqiu nodded vigorously. "I'll do my best to save my mother." Yi Gai gave her arm a squeeze and said, "I don't know what happened to him. Ever since our return, he seems to be doing nothing but training. I heard that he almost escaped from the jaws of death. I don't know what he's doing. His lover." "Sure." Nan Qiuqiu silenced her with a gesture. She shook her head and said, "Let's not talk about Wang Donga. It's taboo for all of us. Originally, I hated Hui Yuhao. However, he's pitiable, indeed. This time, in the Yin-Yang Love Querying Valley, he lost the girl he loves the most. Now, he is turning his anger and grief into strength for cultivation. It's really..." Yi Gai grunted and said, "He's a freak, but he's strong too. Let's go and cultivate. One day, I'm going to beat him." The entire Tang sect was training and cultivating intensely. While the Tang sect had no powerful people to back them up, they were undoubtedly the most powerful group of young soul masters on the entire continent. Their growth would surely impact the world of soul masters. Darkness. Everything was dark and silent. One could not even see one's hands. Smack. A sound rang out. A shadow flew into the air, and something stopped it. A strong hand had grabbed it. Light jade green light started to shine, giving light to this pitch-black world. The jade green light shone from someone's body. It came from Hui Yuhao. At that moment, his hand had grabbed a small vat, which contained extremely strong alcohol. He opened its seal, and the pungent smell of alcohol appeared in the secret, black room. He lifted the vat and drank the alcohol down in huge gulps. For a normal person, 1 small cup would have sufficed. The green light on his body shone even more intensely. After his return from the Clear Sky sect, Hui Yuhao chose to go into closed-door training. For its silence, he chose the deepest part of the Tang sect's Soul Tool Hall for its silence, where he dug out an area to be his own cultivation cave. Here, he would not be affected by the outside world. He cultivated furiously in absolute silence. This time, his closed-door training was do or die. If he did not reach his target, he would not leave. His objective was simple. He wanted to open the passageways in his legs once more, allowing the origin energy of ultimate ice, which he had absorbed in the icefire yin-yang well, to fully flow throughout his body. He had cultivated behind closed doors for almost half a month. In this half a month, he had completely calmed his heart. Even though there was no way he could suppress his thoughts, he slowly returned to the intensity of the time when he had just joined Shrek Academy. It was an indescribable sensation. In this cultivation, he did his best to improve himself. At the same time, he tried to fuse his spiritual power, his soul power, his ultimate ice, his spirit eyes, and even his necromancy, which he had derived from the divine law of necromancy, and which had been taught to him by the calamity necromancer Electrolux, into one. In the past few years, his power had increased rapidly. His twin martial souls gave him an innate advantage. In this period of time, his paralysis was not necessarily a bad thing, as it made him realize that innate talent was not everything. Right now, he had managed to accomplish something even Title Doluor found difficult. He was combining of all his powers as he tried to refine them. His strong spiritual power gave him the ability to do so. Aided by the distilled wine, he was able to absorb the origin energy of ultimate ice faster and faster. His soul power also increased quickly. Cultivating an ultimate strength martial soul was hardest before one possessed 7 rings. However, as Hu Yuhao's soul power was increased by 5 ranks after the yin-yang love querying valley, coupled with his continual absorption of the origin energy of ultimate ice, this process became a lot simpler. All this while, he had felt as if the increase in his soul power had reached a bottleneck. His soul power was becoming stronger, but he did not feel it increasing. The soul power he had absorbed from the origin energy of ultimate ice appeared to be hidden in the bones of his 4 limbs, and was unable to fuse with his own soul power. When he first started, he was worried. After a while, he understood that he had reached a bottleneck, and this bottleneck was for the 60th rank. He himself could not believe that he had reached rank 60 so quickly. In fact, when he took part in the Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament in the Sun Moon Empire, he was in a state of high alert and constant fighting. Beibei's injuries meant that he had to carry the banner of the Tang sect. As he fought, he improved non-stop. With all his might and energy, he brought the Tang sect forward, and even helped Shrek Academy out. Regardless of whether it was actual fighting experience, or just plain hardship, he was the one who bore the most of it among everyone from the Tang sect. His return from the jaws of death, from the yin-yang love querying valley, had allowed him to further demonstrate his full potential. It further sharpened his body and mind, greatly increasing his soul power. Coupled with his final reward of an increase in 5 ranks, he was finally able to reach rank 60. Had it been any other soul master, he would have ecstatically started searching for a soul ring once his rank reached a multiple of 10. However, Hu Yuhao did not do so. The passageways in his legs were still blocked. Furthermore, 10,000 years ago, one of the founders of Shrek Academy, Ancestor Yu Xiaogang, who was widely known as the Grandmaster, said that when a soul master's soul power reached a bottleneck, it would not stop increasing because one stopped adding soul rings to it. If one had a chance to further increase one's soul power, there was no rush to look for a soul ring. As long as one added a soul ring later on, the excess soul power from the earlier cultivation would still materialize. Hence, Hu Yuhao was in no rush. His target was to finish absorbing all of the origin energy of ultimate ice in his body, returning his body to normal. Like this, he would return to his optimal state. As for getting a soul ring later, it would all came down to luck for a spirit-type soul master like him. It was better for him to focus on cultivation and solving his issues now than to search for a ring, which required both time and luck. Furthermore, he could sense that after the fusion of his abilities, the overall increase in strength would be more delightful to him than the increase in soul power. He understood that this was a chance that he had to seize. He could still clearly remember Elder Mu saying that to become a soul master, one had to find one's own path. At that time, Hui Yu Hao had believed that finding one's path was to find a direction for cultivation. At that time, he had chosen the Tang sect's secret techniques. Elder Mu said nothing. Instead, he let him cultivate according to his own plans. Right now, Hui Yu Hao slowly started to understand what Elder Mu meant by path. It did not mean the direction of cultivation, but instead turning one's own strength into a straight, flat road. Hui Yu Hao had found the entrance to this road. He was slowly walking it, and to him, this process of understanding his powers was more important than improving his ultimate ice, or any other of his abilities. His own powers would improve through this process, and Hui Yu Hao deeply believed that once he completely understood his powers, his strength would increase exponentially once again. In the dark underground room, one could not feel the passage of time. There was vat after vat of wine, which Hui Yu Hao consumed to help his cultivation. To devote more of his time to pure cultivation, he only ate a little bit of food every day, along with some nourishment pills the academy provided him. He used all his remaining time for cultivation. This method was extremely lonely. However, every time Hui Yu Hao started to get frustrated, he only needed to recite 2 words to calm himself and get his focus back. They served as his source of motivation. The words were Wang Donga. Days passed, and Shrek Academy and the Tang sect stayed peaceful. In the blink of an eye, 2 months passed. Shrek was not the only calm one. The entire continent was strangely calm. After the Sun-Moon Empire experienced so many changes, the entire continent appeared to have lost its will to fight. Every country was extremely peaceful. The original 3 countries of the Doluo continent did not try to find those responsible from the Sun-Moon Empire, and the Sun-Moon Empire did nothing, either. Even the occasional border skirmishes disappeared in this period of time. Everything was eerily quiet. The only significant thing that happened, which was expected by everyone, was the ascension of the crown prince of the Sun-Moon Empire, Shu Qianran, to the throne. He became the new emperor of the Sun-Moon Empire. After he ascended the throne, he did not do anything significant, either. All he did was issue a few orders for the rebuilding of Radiant City. Other than that, he did nothing else. In the eyes of the people, peace was a good thing. However, to those who were more discerning, this was just the calm before the storm. Those who knew Shu Qianran knew of his ambition. How could he be content with keeping a low profile? The original 3 countries of the Doluo continent continued to make their preparations. War would come at any moment. To them, any additional days they got would greatly help in their preparations. Due to the difference in soul tool technology, they had completely lost the initiative. If they wanted to catch up to the Sun-Moon Empire in terms of technology, they needed time. It was under this political context that the Tang sect was able to further expand its influence. The Tang sect was originally located at the outskirts of Shrek City, but it now managed to expand once more, occupying a significant plot of land in the western part of Shrek City. This expansion was because of the Soul Tool Hall. Due to the development of the Tang sect, Shrek Academy and the Tang sect came to a further agreement. The Soul Tool Hall of the Tang sect would be where the top graduates of Shrek Academy's Soul Tool department would go. They would be treated well, and, coupled with personal instruction from the former Sun-Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's chief researcher, it was bound to attract many people. Shrek Academy's Soul Tool department made a name for itself through its cooperation with the Tang sect. Huge amounts of various types of ordinary and rare metals entered Shrek City, having been bought elsewhere at high prices. These were turned into soul tools, which were quietly shipped back out. In just a span of 2 months, the Tang sect gave the Heavenly Soul Empire and the Star Luo Empire 3 batches of soul tools, most of which were Zhuge divine crossbow cannons. After careful testing, the Tang sect decided to take even more orders. As Shrek Academy was the Tang sect's backer, the profits from the Soul Tool Hall benefited both the Tang sect and Shrek Academy. The Tang sect in particular used the rare metals and gold soul coins obtained from selling soul tools to great effect, allowing the Soul Tool Hall to develop as rapidly as a rocket. There was no doubting Xian Ziwen's abilities. He was not only the hallmaster of the Tang sect's Soul Tool Hall, but also the honorary dean of Shrek Academy's Soul Tool department. Every week, he had to spend 2 days lecturing at Shrek Academy. As he brought with him the newest theories of soul engineering, as well as much technical expertise, Shrek Academy's soul tool department was able to develop at an astonishing pace. The original situation, where Shrek Academy was weak in terms of soul engineering and strong in terms of soul masters, was changing rapidly. The original 3 countries of the Doluor continent continued to send their elite students to study at Shrek Academy. No matter their age or background, they would always be crucial talents. The development of Shrek Academy seemed strong and unstoppable. Shrek Academy, Inner Courtyard, Sea God's Pavilion. How is everything? Elder Xian asked the elder standing next to him. It's ready. These 2 words made Elder Xian's eyes lit up. He nodded slightly and said, all right, if that's the case, let's make our preparations. Inform the elders that we shall have a meeting at the Sea God's Pavilion. Yes. Tang sect. Boom. An explosion rang out. Nan Qiuqiu and Yi Gai flew in opposite directions. The figure of the sword fanatic, Ji Juechen, could gradually be seen. He had an ugly expression on his face, and his clothes were torn in many places. Only his gaze was sharp. One could see light flashing on his judgment sword. Nan Qiuqiu stood there wheezing. Her eyes brimmed with excitement as she said, success, the experiment was a success. Yi Gai gave her a thumbs up. She was excited, too. In the past 2 months, Ji Juechen was in both pain and joy. As a sword fanatic, he feared not having a regular opponent. However, over the past 2 months, he had found 2 people who were more burdensome than him, and that was these 2 beauties. Nan Qiuqiu, in her attempt to save her mother, searched for him as a sparring partner every day. Yi Gai was also a fanatic when it came to cultivation. The 2 of them went to Ji Juechen to spar almost every single day. The difference in cultivation made him slightly hesitant about fighting them at first. However, the 2 of them used extreme methods to achieve their aims. They did not care whether he was willing or not. Whenever they saw him, they would attack him straight away, as they knew that he would not actually hurt them. In the end, in these 2 months, Nan Qiuqiu and Yi Gai learned to coordinate extremely well with one another. In particular, they came up with a special joint attack, fusing the Holy Angel's holy element with the Rouge Dragon's annihilation. While it was not a true martial soul fusion skill, it was close enough that it could be called one. Now, it was much harder for Ji Juechen to beat them. Once he lost his focus, they would take advantage of him. Of course, both Nan Qiuqiu and Yi Gai knew that this was because Ji Juechen had no intentions of killing them. If not, they would still be the losers. Even so, their improvement in the past 2 months was shocking. Nan Qiuqiu was very close to rank 60, and she had accumulated a lot of fighting experience. Ji Juechen shook his head helplessly. He looked at himself and walked away with his judgment sword. Nan Qiuqiu made a fist and said, we must beat him next time. Yi Gai smiled and said, then you should hurry up and increase your soul power. Once you get your 6th soul ring and 6th soul skill, I think we'll stand a chance. What chance? I think the 2 of you are closer to death, Shu Sancha said lazily. Nan Qiuqiu looked at him angrily and said, third elder brother, all you know how to do is douse cold water on us. Why are we closer to death? Shu Sancha said, do you think the sword fanatic really can't beat you? We're the Tang sect, and in terms of individual fighting prowess, even Bei Bei and I have to be wary of him. While the 2 of you have special martial souls, your foundations are weak. Ji Juechen's strongest trait is that his sword intent is unstoppable. He does not dare to go all out against you, as he cares about you. If your power improves even more, he'll be forced to use all his strength. By that time, he may not be able to rein in his powers. Hence, aren't you closer to death? Yi Gai and Nan Qiuqiu looked at one another. Their expressions changed. Shu Sancha was right. From the first moment they had attacked Ji Juechen, they had already had this notion in mind, but as they fought more and more, they gradually forgot about it. An idea flashed in Yi Gai's mind as she smiled at Shu Sancha. She was already very beautiful. With that smile, she became even more attractive. Shu Sanxi's face froze. He took a few steps back, as he folded his arms in front of his chest. What do you want? Let me warn you. I have a woman waiting for me. Furthermore, I have a strong will. Don't tempt me, if not, I'll be a goner for sure. Nan Chocho chuckled and said, Who's tempting you? Don't dream. If not for the fact that Sister Nan Nan fell for you, with your appearance. TSK. As she said that, she waved her hand in front of her nose disrespectfully. Yi Gai chimed in, That's right. We don't like you. Third elder brother, you see, you said that the increase in our strength would make Ji Juechen an unsuitable sparring partner for us. Hence, do you think we should change that? An uneasy feeling rose in Shu Sanxi's heart as he said with a straight face, I have something to do. As he said that, he turned to leave. Don't go. Watch me. Yi Gai and Nan Chocho, the two little devils, dominated the sparring arena. Yi Gai's feet lightly touched the surface of the ground as she flew into the sky. Her angel wings extended outward, and a golden blade of light sliced toward Shu Sanxia. Nan Chocho was not idle, either. She pointed out with her right hand, a pink ray of the light of annihilation appeared behind Shu Sanxia. Mysteriously, when it was less than 2 meters away from him, it blew up and turned into countless strands of light that sought to cover him. Not fair. Shu Sanxia shouted. He stumbled as he took a few steps forward. Weirdly, with his odd footwork, he was able to dodge the sharpest part of Yi Gai's holy sword as he dodged to the side. He turned around, and a soothing black light shone from him. The black light looked as gentle as ripples on water. It entangled with the light of annihilation that came from behind him. The moment the light of annihilation entered the black light, it started to ripple intensely. However, every single black ripple continued to twist and turn, stopping every single strand of light of annihilation from entering it. Another black light flashed, and a huge shield appeared, blocking Yi Gai, who came down from the sky. The shield was completely black. On it, one could see the carving of a huge, deep blue turtle. On the back of the turtle was a small, coiled blood-red snake with jade-green eyes. When the shield appeared, the entire sparring arena was covered by a layer of black ripples. It was like this entire area had turned into the bottom of a lake. Both Yi Gai and Nan Chocho felt discomfort, as if they were stuck in mud. Yes, this was the Xuanwu shield, the complete form of the Xuanwu shield. Who benefited the most in the Yin-Yang love-querying valley? It was definitely not those whose soul power had increased, but Shu Sanxia. In the valley, he had resolved his relationship issue with Jiang Nan Nan, and the two of them were finally together. Furthermore, he had experienced that scene once more, and this time, his Xuanwu shield was fully awoken. Now, he had a martial soul which descended from a pure, ancient bloodline. Among Shrek's 7 monsters, Bei Bei was no longer the strongest. Shu Sanxia, who now wielded his pure Xuanwu shield, was the strongest. When he unleashed his Xuanwu shield, Shu Sanxia appeared to have increased in size. Countless black ripples pulsed from his body. Shu Sanxia took a step forward, and his Xuanwu shield doubled in size once more. A powerful energy could be felt from it. Black light filled the entire sparring arena. The black ripples instantly turned into countless rising dots of black light. It was like a plate filled with water, which someone had just hit from underneath. A power energy vibrated out, and instantly, Yi Gai and Nan Chocho's attacks were destroyed. The two girls felt that the soul power they had used to launch their attacks had been instantly destroyed by this powerful energy. In shock, they retreated. However, black ripples appeared once again. The vibrations made their movements sluggish. The movements of the two girls became visibly slower. He, continue to work hard. After Chocho gets her 6th ring, you can consider looking for me, Shu Sanxia chuckled as he waved his hands at the two girls. The surrounding black light became even more intense, forcing the two girls to go on the defensive. However, the moment the black light receded, Shu Sanxia had already disappeared. His so strong, Nan Chocho said in shock. His martial soul is very powerful, Yi Gai said with a heavy expression on her face. While it's water type, it had the thickness of a soil type martial soul. Furthermore, I feel that his martial soul is not on the same level as ours. I estimate that is around rank 68, very close to rank 70. Nan Chocho exclaimed in shock, so our Tang sect will soon have a second soul sage. Yi Gai nodded and said, in the past, he didn't seem so strong. In the past 2 months, however, he has become very powerful. Shu Sancha heard the two girls' conversation clearly, and could not help but laugh. He was delighted. Yi Gai was right. Right now, his soul power was at rank 68. His soul power did not increase in the Yin-Yang Love Querying Valley. However, after his martial soul turned completely into the Xuanwu, his cultivation entered a strange state. It was like a form of refinement. The refinement of his martial soul caused his own soul power to become refined as well. His past 2 months of cultivation had allowed his soul power to change completely. Over the past 2 months, his evolved martial soul was able to complete its fusion, and his soul power naturally rose to rank 68. Shu Sancha estimated that in less than half a year, he had a chance of surpassing rank 70. With the strength of his martial soul, the Xuanwu shield, he would not even fear rank 80 soul Dolua once he hit rank 70. He was not the only one who had improved. Through the Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament, everyone from the Tang sect who had participated benefited greatly from it. Their fights in the tournament and their struggles in the Yin-Yang Love Querying Valley had allowed them to reap many benefits. Jiang Nan Nan and Xiao Xiao, under Din Yang Shaojia's personal supervision, had successfully retrieved their 6th soul rings. They reached the rank of Soul Emperor, improving the Tang sect even more. Yi Gai and Nan Chocho both had great potential. The reason why they were unable to fight those from the Tang sect was because of their foundations. Shrek Academy was not known as the top academy in the world for nothing. Its method of education was excellent and reigned supreme. In particular, they were able to produce the best soul masters, who no one else could beat. Nan Chocho and Yi Gai were both now on the path that Shrek's 7 monsters trod. Their shaky foundations, after the intensity of the past few months, solidified. Soon, they would improve faster and faster. With excellent instruction from good teachers, and Shrek's 7 monsters as their peers, their cultivation had been improving rapidly. Third elder brother, a clear voice suddenly called out. Yes? Shu Sancha replied without thinking. In the Tang sect, other than Bei Bei, He Kai Tu, Xian Ziwen, and a few others, almost everyone else called him that. He was thinking about the overall strength of everyone from the Tang sect, so he did not pay much attention to the voice. Let's spar, said the voice once more. Sure. Wait. Shu Sancha finally woke up from his reverie. He raised his head to look. Who wants to spar with me? When he saw a smiling, confident youth, his eyes opened wide in shock. Then, brimming with joy, he shot forward like an arrow to hug him. You rascal. You finally ended your closed-door cultivation, Shu Sancha said excitedly. That's right. I'm done. I took a shower and changed. Just when I walked out, I saw a good show. Third elder brother, your power has improved so much. I almost didn't recognize you. Shu Sancha chuckled and said, don't try and flatter me. What's this? You can walk again. The one who had appeared in front Shu Sancha, who delighted him so much, was none other than Hui Yuhao, who was ranked number 6 among Shrek's 7 monsters. His closed-door cultivation had indeed made everyone worry deeply for him. Hui Yuhao lifted his right leg and kicked out. He nodded at Shu Sancha and said, that's right, I've healed fully. All of my passageways are clear once more. I've absorbed all the energy into my body. As he said that, his eyes shone with a faint light. While Shu Sanchi's sight was not as good as Hui Yuhao's spirit eyes, it was not weak either. He saw the instantaneous change in his junior's eyes. To his shock, Hui Yuhao's eyes shone with a pale white light. It was not as powerful or dazzling as his original golden eyes. Instead, it looked as clear and silky as jade. His entire body appeared to be holding in great power. Little junior brother, you've changed. After Wang Donga was revealed to be a girl, Hui Yuhao was naturally the youngest male disciple. Shu Sanxia, He Kai Tu, and Bei Bei all called him little junior brother. Hui Yuhao smiled and said, "Do you want to try fighting me?" Shu Sanxia laughed and said, "Bring it on." As he said that, he dragged him outside. The moment the two of them walked out the door, they bumped into the two frustrated beauties. They did not react when they saw Shu Sanxia dragging someone over. However, when they finally got a closer look, they could not help but open their mouths in shock. Nan Qiuqiu exclaimed in surprise, "Hui Yuhao, you've completed your closed-door training. Good. You finally came out." Yi Gai also said excitedly. When Hui Yuhao looked at the two of them, his smile brightened. After 3 months of solitary cultivation, it was good to see some familiar faces. "Hello, Qiuqiu and Yi Gai. That's right, I've completed my training." "You rascal." Yi Gai said indignantly, "You brought me here, but the moment you returned, you went to do your closed-door training. You didn't even say hi. Why?" "HMPH. Let me tell you, my powers have increased quite a bit in this period of time. Come. Let me take my anger out on you." Nan Qiuqiu fanned the flames and continued, "That's right. You're terrible. Sister Gai, let's take care of him together." Shu Sanxia said with a smile, "My pretties, don't you think you should wait? Little junior brother and I agreed to spar first. We should follow this order. Furthermore, don't fight a battle you can't win. Watch us fight first to see how powerful he has become before taking him on yourselves." Hui Yuhao chuckled bitterly and said, "Third senior brother, you just want to see the world burn." Shu Sanxia looked into the sky and said, "If the heavens have caused trouble for you, it's forgivable. If you cause trouble for yourself." Hui Yuhao's feet left the ground. Yi Gai and Nan Qiuqiu only saw a blur. They lost sight of him. "Come on, third senior brother," Hui Yuhao's voice rang out from afar. The two girls turned and realized that Hui Yuhao was already at the other end of the sparring arena. "He's so fast," said Nan Qiuqiu. Yi Gai was not impressed. "So what's if he's fast? A man must have endurance." Shu Sanxia was walking into the sparring arena, but when he heard that, he stumbled and could not help but turn around and retort angrily, "That's so wrong. You two are in cahoots with him." This video will end here.